Mm.
Whereas we really want our grounding techniques to be connecting us more deeply and more intimately with our instinctual nature rather than constantly trying to dominate our instinctual nature with our mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels like it's so important to really get clear on the intention here of like, yeah, like,
Mm,
am I regulating so that I don't have to feel the thing that's uncomfortable?
mm,
Or am I regulating to expand my capacity to feel what is here, to let it move through, to honor what, like, the wisdom of the body? Because I think that's also what gets missed a lot is it's like, oh, it's my trauma, it's my wounding, it's this thing that's wrong that needs to be fixed,
mm,
rather than like what is the intelligence of the body, what is being communicated to me, what is the protection mechanism protecting me from, like what is here, like can we
mm,
go a little bit deeper rather than just, oh, I've got to fix this thing or heal this thing or regulate myself so that I don't have to feel this uncomfortable thing, and so I don't maybe get snappy, because if I'm snappy or if I'm angry, then I'm an angry person, or
mm,
like there's something wrong with me. I'm not lovable. I don't belong. Like I'll be rejected and abandoned if I'm this way. So let me regulate myself so that I'm like this ideal woman.
mm,
Yeah, like just the woman that will be loved, accepted, and belong. This good girl, this nice girl. Like, yeah, rather than my full, wild, crazy self, like, which I
mm,
feel like we all are, which is, it's like natural, it's normal. And I mean crazy in like a really beautiful way, not like, um, I think how we might use that word.
mm,
But like just this fullness, like this fullness, this wildness, this emotional being that we are. And I think because of all the conditioning of, yeah, what we should be like and what's good and what's bad, a lot of these energies and expressions have been shut down and now they're just really hard to access, which what I really love about the work that you're doing with the sacred rage of how shut down we've become towards anger, especially, and
mm.
even pleasure. Um,
Yeah.
and kind of like what I've experienced is just feeling like this watered down, dull version of myself that's just missing that aliveness and
Mm,
missing that spark and that
mm,
like zest for life. Like,
mm,
and it's been really amazing having Akira come into the world like this, like she's just this bundle of joy, like this just full wild expression. I'm like, this is a lot. Um, and it feels like a lot because it's just been so shut down for me for so long, but it's so liberating at the same time to witness her and her fullness. And it feels like a really beautiful invitation for me to really step more into that. And that's what I've been noticing since she came through is this huge shift for me of reconnecting to that.
mm. Yeah, wow, reconnecting to innocence, reconnecting to aliveness and our passionate life force energy, which is what rage and eros are. Um, yeah, I wanted to ask you something about grounded in you. I guess, like, what are you most excited about from this couple of months intensity that you've been experiencing? What are you most excited to bring into grounded in you from that? And like, I know one of the things that we've been talking a lot about recently is sacred rage, which is that protective life force energy that like honors and holds and protects innocence and our essence, and our wild creativity. But what else has been coming through in that time that you feel really, really excited about bringing in that before this journey maybe wasn't even really, part of grounded in you?
Mm. It's been so interesting because just like I've been in this like full witnessing of the evolution of grounded in you because it did feel like it
Mm,
started with a big focus on nervous system regulation as the foundation to deepen connection and intimacy in relationships because it's like if I can't essentially be with my own emotions, how am I going to actually experience the depth of connection and intimacy with my partner if I can't even be with myself? So that was
hmm
like the essence of it. And I feel like it's just evolved from there. And so that obviously still a big part of it, of like those grounding tools, those really anchoring into your center, into your truth, into your power. And it's like what has been coming through a lot on the journey for me is the piece around truth
mm,
and expressing that truth, like really feeling safe to actually like this is me and being
mm,
in my fullness, being able to express um, and follow my path. And so it's like, I guess coming into that honoring of like, well, what is my no? What is my yes? Where are those like boundaries? Um, but like, what is that unique path that I feel called to follow rather than what someone else is telling me that I should do or how I should
mm,
do it or this is the right way. And so it feels like there's this piece around really connecting to what feels true for me in this moment and how do I want to lead myself through my life, through my relationships. Um, so yeah, that feels like a really big piece because I feel like
mm,
the world feels really loud, is what I've been noticing.
mm,
And so
mm,
when it's like going into like the spirals that we've been talking about in this conversation, there's like our own internal loudness and chaos and chatter, but then there's also the external chaos and loudness and chatter where it can feel
mm,
like everything is so loud and it's like I don't even know what to do right now. I don't know what's up and what's down, what's right and what's wrong. Like where should I go? What steps should I take next? It can feel so overwhelming. And then we're trying to just juggle so many things and there's all these ways that we can do motherhood, all these ways that we can be in relationship, all these tools that we can do, all these regulation tools. Like this, it feels like we're just so overloaded with
mm,
information and resources. And so a big piece for me with the journey of grounded in you is like, can I actually ground into my center and feel into what feels true for me? What
mm,
feels like this is my path, this is my yes, this is my no, this is what's calling me, this is what I'm excited about, this is where I'm pulled, this is like I want to try on. Um, and it feels like from that space, it does feel like that reconnecting to innocence and play and like, what if I tried this? Like, oh, this
mm,
feels like it's calling me. This feels expansive and exciting. And then it's like, oh, there's also, oh, maybe there's contraction here. Maybe there's fear here. Let me tune into that. Let me listen to that and actually feel into what's that communicating to me because it doesn't necessarily mean a no. It could also mean that there's something here for me. So, yeah, it's like it's nervous system regulation on the level that we've been talking about of like expanding that capacity to feel. It's emotional intimacy of how do I actually be with the waves of life, the contractions and the expansion. It's like anchoring into my truth and being able to like follow what feels true for me, regardless of what someone else might think is like their truth is completely different and that's okay. It's like multiple truths can exist at once. What's true for me doesn't have to be true for you, and I can really anchor into that and be okay with that. Um, yeah, and it feels like there's also this big shift for me. around depth and deepening, deepening the connection, deepening the relationships, deepening the intimacy. Like, um, I don't really even know how else to word that, but it just feels like there's such a big shift of going going deeper together in this like these sacred containers, um, building community, building support systems. So it's like I think sometimes when we like talking about grounded and you, I don't want it to be mistaken for like, oh, I have to hold it all. And it's like I have to carry it all. I have to do it all on my own and I have to be grounded in myself and therefore not have that external support. I feel like it's also acknowledging that we need both. And so there's this real invitation of like, yes, we want to ground into our center and our truth, but also build the support systems,
Mm.
build the community, build the relationships, shift our conversations, um, really honoring our boundaries and allowing the essence of grounded in you to ripple out into our external.
Mm. Yeah, it sounds to me like there's a desire to really also bring in this part of our social nervous system
Mm,
that often gets left out in the way that we are relational beings, in the way that we are um, the way that we co-regulate. And to me, this is a really, really important piece that I think a lot of people don't understand that we are picking up all the time on what's happening in a space. And to me, this is exactly why there is always such an intense process or um, recalibration or you know initiation or baptism by fire anytime you create a container like that that has a really strong intention because our bodies will be learning that from your body.
yeah.
And yeah, that's a really, really essential piece as well that we're feeling each other's bodies in a space. And that doesn't mean we have to be physically together, but there's, a limbic resonance that we're picking up that I'm like, oh, I know where you're at in your system, and that helps me drop into a certain state. And I also know that you're not going to get that by like, reading some books and regurgitating some information that you've learned about that process. It's about how that is living and breathing inside of you and how then I'm receiving that from you. Yeah. And something else that you said that created a really beautiful image for me was also when you spoke about two things at the same time, which was the one leaning more into relationality. And then you also spoke to something about boundaries within that. So there's also like reaching out into relationality, and there's also like having a felt sense and a stronger sense of also this is where I end and you begin.
Mm,
Uh, and where do I belong in an ecosystem and how do I operate in an ecosystem? And um I think something that a lot of people start learning when they do this kind of work is also um, go back to those words that you used at the beginning that you didn't like. It's like, where do I lose myself? I
yeah.
think is a lot. Some of that is relationally as well. We're not operating alone. We're not seeing ourselves alone. But it's also, yeah, where am I losing myself with others? And some of this work is also about defining more clearly, yeah, where I end and you begin, and how we can be in that space in support, but not in, um, yeah, not in a relationship that feels too enmeshed or giving up too much or, yeah, adjusting myself too much. Or I think a lot of that stuff comes up in that space as well.
Mm. Yeah, I've
Mm.
definitely noticed, like, through my own kind of contemplations and witnessing of where I've shifted or changed because I'm in a relationship and what I maybe think is expected of me, or
Mm,
what becomes like a I should in order to be a good partner, or what I need to do so that I don't get abandoned or rejected or judged
mm,
or shamed. Or, and it's not even because they've necessarily done anything. It's like these are my internal stories and conditionings and layers that are in my system. And that's what I really love about relationships, and also maybe sometimes don't love. But
mm.
like, but what I always find really fascinating is what gets activated and what becomes clear, what is revealed to us through relationship. Like, there's so many things I just wouldn't have seen if I wasn't in
Mm,
this relationship, like what's being mirrored to me, what's being reflected to me. And that's like where the magic is. It's like, well, without the awareness, how do we shift these things? Like, how do we even know that they're there and how they're impacting our lives? And so there's a lot of things I noticed with entering into relationship with Liam. There's a lot of things that arose from becoming a mother, like the first time round, and
mm,
then when, like, with my second, and what's coming through this third time round. Like, they're all different. They all bring their different energies, and what's reflected to me in those processes, all those journeys. And so it's like it can be really challenging, but I love who I become on that journey
mm.
and what I get to witness and experience and heal and alchemize and integrate